You hear people mentioning life goals, business goals, career goals, financial or learning goals, and the list goes on. Actually, 1 week ago, my manager asked me to set new goals and objectives as part of the yearly development plan, as they call it, as well as to evaluate those set by some of my colleagues. Needless to say, it's a straightforward process as long as everyone has the same understanding of the topic. But I came to realize that working with goals and objectives can feel a bit challenging, and this happens either because people use the terms interchangeably, confuse their meaning, or even sometimes they have a hard time expressing them. That's why I decided to make this video. So here's what we're gonna cover. First of all, what are goals and objectives? Second, how are they related and what's the difference between them? And lastly, how to create smart objectives. Let's get started. Setting clear goals and working towards achieving them will only increase your chances of arriving at the desired outcome or destination. Their purpose is to make it obvious and help us focus on what's important. Same thing happens on a business level. The management sets goals in order to inform and align their departments and teams on where the company aims to be. In general, goals are broad, and that's a good thing. They don't tell you exactly how to get there, and they stretch over longer time horizon, giving you plenty of room to decide on the optimal route. Now, here are some examples. Climb Mount Everest, learn French, graduate from university, get in shape, get a new job, get a promotion, grow on YouTube, and of course the list goes on. If you follow along, I'm sure that by now you're thinking of some goals of your own. We see a pattern because they have something in common. They're concise, easy to remember, and simple to communicate. Like I said, they just paint a picture, giving you an overview of where you're heading and how the destination looks like, but nothing more than that. For this precise reason, objectives come into play, and here's how they're different from goals. Number one, they're shorter term. Usually they span from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. And number two, they're measurable. How much actually happened compared to what was initially planned. By nature, they're subordinated to the goals and when set correctly, enable you to accomplish that end goal. Objectives should reduce the gap between where you find yourself now and where you see yourself in the future, acting like stepping stones. Another point I need to make here is that if something can be done in a couple of hours or a couple of days, probably it's just a task or an activity, it's not an objective. I'm sure you're familiar with those since we have plenty of tasks on a daily basis. Now, good objectives follow the SMART formula. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Some will say attainable instead of achievable, or timely instead of time bound, but the idea is the same. Specific, think of something concrete that leaves no room for debate or interpretation and that everybody can understand. Measurable, that's a way to point out if the objective was met in full, partially, or if it wasn't met, think of the metric or metrics you need to evaluate the objective. Achievable means it's doable, so within your current ability, knowledge, and power. At times it can be slightly more than you can handle, but you need to push maybe your limits, get out of your comfort zone, and you should be able to succeed. Relevant, this is what makes the objective relatable to the goal. If it's not relevant, it doesn't do much good, it doesn't carry any meaning in regards to what you or your team are pursuing. Time bound as the fifth and last characteristic, a very important one. Just think of it as deadlines. Now, objectives are measurable and relevant only over a period of time. Just like before, let's see an example, and some objectives will follow the SMART formula while others won't. And I took this approach to illustrate traps we can fall into when declaring our objectives and how to try to avoid them. So, if my goal is to learn French, some objectives may sound like develop my vocabulary with new words and expressions, become capable of carrying a conversation in French, improve my language comprehension skills. Though they sound reasonable, first one doesn't tell me how many new words or expressions I should learn or try to learn and by when. Also, it can be a bit more specific, addressing maybe some groups or categories of words. The second, which refers to speaking, it's also a bit too broad since It will always be a difference between small talk, like a casual conversation with a friend, and a more advanced dialogue on maybe science or politics. And the last one, since comprehension can mean listening and understanding, also reading and understanding, I decided to split it into two objectives. So let's have another look. And this time we're gonna use the SMART formula. For the upcoming semester, learn 10 to 20 new words or expressions per week covering topics such as greetings, food and drinks, numbers, and household items. Before my next trip to Paris in fall, be able to have a casual 5-minute talk on topics such as, and I list the topics over here. Over the upcoming 3 months, I will be able to read and translate at the first glance a brochure or a short story. Before the end of Unit 5, I will be able to listen to and summarize some news article I hear over the radio. By now, we have a strong understanding in what goals and objectives are, also what SMART refers to. Here's another thing I need to point out in regards to objectives, and this is something I noticed from practice. You will come across situations where they are independent of each other or interdependent, also known as coupled objectives. A quick example for the first case, let's say your goal is to get in shape. One objective can address the physical exercise, another one, the healthy eating diet. Both influence the end result, but each can run without being concerned too much of how the other one is progressing. For the ones that are coupled, the order, starting and ending times matter. An example could be when the goal is to get a new job. One objective can be to update your resume, a second to reach out to recruiters. But by the time you move to the second objective, in order to try and schedule some interviews with them, make sure you have the resume updated because they will ask for it. Reach the end of today's topic, goals and objectives. By now, some of the advantages are hopefully clear. They bring focus, break down complicated things into something more approachable, and fulfilling them can feel awesome, rewarding. While failing to do so just means you need to maybe do a couple of changes, reevaluate. In the work environment, you can use them to better set expectations and communicate within your team or with stakeholders. While in your personal life, this can help you grow and maybe become a better person, even make some of your dreams into reality. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment. Maybe you want to tell me some of your goals or how you managed to stay on track with them. Until next time.